Hello YouTube fans, here again. And I figure going to the video nasties, why not the daddy of all video nasties? That being the cannibal films. Say it again, cannibal films. And why not this one? This is the one what started all the cannibal films off. That being Man from Deep River. Say it again, Man from Deep River. Now this had two titles back in the day of 1972. It was the one I just said, Man from Deep River, and I think in the UK it was called Deep River Saphitis. In all fairness, I remember saying this when I did a review about this before. I prefer the name Man from Deep River. I don't know. It's like I said before. Um, Deep River Saphitis to me sounds like a B monster film. Sounds like something you see in a sea swamp monster film. It does. Deep River Saphitis. It sounds like a monster film. So I'm kind of happy that they went with Man from Deep River, even though originally in UK it was called, if I remember right, it was called River Saphitis or Deep River Saphitis. Um, so again, it was a video nasty back in the day, and in 1972, I think it was banned in a number of countries, as well as it being the first cannibal film, without repeating myself. Now, if anyone's never seen this, and this was, let's say, was the first cannibal film you've ever seen in its uncut form, and you think it's really nasty and gruesome, this is actually quite mild compared to the later cannibal films. When you start to get to films, let's say like Eaten Alive, when you start to get through films, let's say like Man Myself, The Last Cannibals, even though that's technically not a video nasty. When you get to, let's say, the daddy of most video nasties, that being Cannibal Orators, or let's say Cannibal Fairlot, what was banned in a number of countries. That's when you start to get to nasty cannibal films. Even though this was the same maker doing as, let's say, the one I just said, Cannibal Fairlot, and one day before that, he did Eaten Alive. This one's not really that bad. It's not really that bad. They say it's more pedicable. What I mean by pedicable is it's more of a jungle adventure film. Plus, I think it was done in Italy, so the dubbing's not the best. And it starts off with this guy. You've got a bit of the typical sort of 70s sort of music, and then you visit in Taiwan. There's a lot of beautiful scenery of Taiwan, and he's just having fast bats, and it's to do with him in this tour. He's going to watch Taiwan kickboxing. This is well before kickboxer, and these dickheads start on him, and he gets into a fight. One tries to stab him, he gets lucky, and he stabs the guy. And I'm not sure the guy's dead or alive, but this guy was assumed he killed him. You assume as an audience he's either dead. To me, I just think he just wounded him, but that's just me being nitpicker. But the guy panics and he goes on the run. Goes on the run. And he meets a guy on the way. He helps him go on this boat ride, but this other guy advises him not to drift too far out. At all, he doesn't listen. He oversleeps. He wakes up to find the guy who's helping him out on the boat has had his boat slit. So he's brown bed and he gets tattooed. Now, I never looked at these as cannibal films, even though this is the first cannibal film. To me, I look at these as natives, because if they were cannibals, they would have killed him and eaten him on the spot. And this is sort of like, you could say, sort of like a native cannibal version of The Man from Deep Horse. Everyone knows the classic movie Man from Deep Horse. It's more like that because they've got him as a prisoner and they've got him in a net. And this is the one where T.T. Lane, very beautiful actress in that era, been in a lot of the cannibal films, she comes into it and it's sort of like a love scene between him and her. The leader cannibal gets killed by accident and he becomes, they decide to put him to a test. And this is, if anyone ever see an iconic photo of a guy with a box on his head and they're pulling darts on him and they're using him as a dartboard, this is the film. Very iconic scene. And they're finding darts on him. They've got one where they've got him tied up in the E and he's burning away. And they put him on all these tests so he can become the next captain of these natives. If you see this uncut, you're better off with the cut one if you don't like cruelty to animals. Because unlike most of the other cannibal films, it's not as ethically cut. But like most cannibal films, when they re-bought them back out in the UK in its uncut, well, not its uncut form, when they re-released them after being banned back on the golden days of vid or DVD, any of the animal cruelty scenes, I'm making to say, were cut. And there's a lot of cruelty to animals. It kind of cheapens the film. It puts you off the entertainment of the film. I mean, there's a bit where you got this bird, I think it's an eagle or some bird, and they have it fighting with a snake. And you really see them hurting one another, blood and everything. There's a bit where a guy kills an alligator and he skins it alive and he stabs it in the head. There's so much cruelty in these animals, and just so it's just for sock. Some of it's made up like wildlife footage, like a snake eating an animal, all that shit. There's a bit, if I remember rightly, where a goat gets its throat slit and you hear it steaming and it's choking on its own blood. That bit, even I went like that. I thought, did you really have to do that for a fucking film? Seriously. So there's a lot of cruelty to animals in this, but this was the first of the cannibal films. They do get worse as they go on when it comes to cruelty to animals. I'm not even making that up. So they wouldn't really need to kill and torture and kill animals for real. No special effects for real. Just to make a fucking film. This is like common for cannibal films. They do get cannibals in it halfway. There's a bit where this couple are walking about, a girl gets pushed, she gets raped. It's very that's one bit I will say was a bit disturbing. You get the idea of the killer, you see him eating the aftershots of him eating a leg, shitty special effect of a leg, but they're eating her. So there's cannibals on the way. And they're attacking people. Our mate gets the better and he kills the cannibals. But this bit kind of gets me. It gets me because there's a bit where T.T. Lane's character gets blind. She gets badly ill and she goes blind. And it never really explained that. They've got one woman who can speak English and she tries to help him escape. Because of that, one of the natives gets pissed off and they cut her hand off. The woman, that is. They get caught halfway, but they don't harm him because he's the leader. T.T. Lane has a baby, and when she has the baby, she dies, and he's now a daddy of this baby. Bits in there, he's hearing the monologue, and you hear the guy's voice over, he's saying how he feels, like he likes it and all this, and it's not really realistic. In real life, that would not happen, but it's a film. I went with it. You do see a lot of good, beautiful jungle scenes. The actors who are the cannibals, I don't really think they're acting fencing unlike the later cannibal films, but it's purple acting. Purple acting. And it's like I say, you do see a lot in it. And this to me, I felt this was more like a jungle adventure. And a lot of the early cannibal films, they were more jungle adventure films. But as like I say, as they go on, they do get more bloodthirsty. And if you don't like cruelty to animals, if you ever get to see cannibal films in the adult uncut form, word of warning, if you don't like cruelty to animals, like I just said, you are not going to like Man from Deep River or Deep River Sapphires, whatever you want to call it. But it's not a bad one. I mean, it ends where he destroys the cannibals, he's the leader, he's getting on with it, happy ending, if you can call it an ending. It's not a bad one. I say it's more of a love story. It's more of a jungle adventure film. There are bits what they're later copying Eaten Alive. There's a bit where this guy's dead and they burn the ashes and these natives are bonking this woman, not being dirty minded. They're trying to copy that in Eaten Alive, only with T.T. Lane's character. She's in that as well. And there's little bits here and there, but they later use in other cannibal films. But this, like I say, this was the first one what started the cannibal films off. And like most of the cannibal films, it became a video nasty. In my eyes, apart from the rape scene, which I thought was a bit too much, a little bit of blood and gore here, it's not that gruesome. The only bits I do admit, that's why I say if you want the cut one, that's fair enough. The bits I felt were a bit too in your face, is cruelty to animals. To me, I just felt it cheapened the film. There wasn't any need to kill animals just to sop fire to make a fucking film. It's a different era, it's a different time. I'm not excusing it. It's what it is. But it was definitely was a video nasty. But if you think it's nasty, the cannibal films, if I was repeating myself, got worse as they went on, but it's not a bad one, this. It's not a bad one. Man from Deep River, I'd give it a 3. I say it's a good hour of your time. If you don't like cruelty to animals, then you're better off with the cult one. But it's more of a jungle adventure film. There's usually a good sort of the jungle. It's not a bad one. But into them, be smart, be safe. See you later.